Have you ever wanted someone to regret hurting you? Have you ever felt the strong desire to make someone truly regret what they did to you? That urge to turn things around and show them that they were the one who actually lost. The deepest pain someone can feel doesn't come from yelling, arguing, or getting revenge in the heat of the moment. The real suffering begins when they realize, too late, that they misjudged you. And here's the hard truth. The person who hurt you believed you would always be there. They thought they could treat you however they wanted, take advantage of you, and never face any consequences. But today, I'm going to show you how to make them regret every choice, remember every mistake, and lose sleep thinking about what they did. The best part? You won't have to lower yourself or go after them. What I'm about to share is a powerful, well-tested psychological strategy that will leave those who wronged you completely powerless. If someone has ever disrespected you, deceived you, or acted like you didn't matter, then pay close attention until the end, because when the time is right, you'll know exactly what to do. And trust me, nothing stings more than the coldness and silence of someone they once took for granted. Now don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because not everyone is ready for this kind of knowledge. And get ready, once you use this, the person who hurt you will feel the full weight of their mistake. Step 1. The final word belongs to you. Do you know what most people do wrong after being treated badly? They look for closure. They chase after explanations. They try to make the other person admit what they did. But here's the harsh reality. The person who hurt you doesn't care about your pain, at least not while they still think they have control over you. And that's why the smartest move you can make is to have the last word. The twist? That last word is complete and total silence. The human mind hates unanswered questions. When you walk away without an argument, without explanations, and without giving them a chance to justify themselves or hurt you again, you create an unbearable emptiness in their thoughts. They expected you to react. They wanted to see you angry, upset, pleading for answers. But when you simply vanish and keep moving forward with your life, the situation shifts in a way they never saw coming. Seneca once said, "Nothing is as powerful as a mind that chooses to ignore what is unworthy of attention, and that is exactly what you must do." The most painful thing for someone who mistreated you is not a fight, not a long message, not even a plan to get back at them. What truly breaks them is realizing they can no longer reach you, that their presence no longer affects you, and that, in the end, they were the ones who truly lost. Do you want to see how this works in real life? Picture two different situations. In the first, you act without thinking. You argue, try to explain, and demand answers. What happens? The other person realizes they still have control over your emotions. They feel important. And deep down, they might even enjoy seeing you upset. Now, in the second situation, you simply stand up and leave without saying a word. No texts, no reaction, no sign that they still have a place in your world. What happens then? Their mind goes into chaos. Doubt starts creeping in. Did I do something wrong? Why didn't they respond? What's happening? And do you know what follows doubt? Regret. The silence you give them turns into a mirror where they have to face their own actions without anything to distract them. And believe me, no one enjoys that. So if you really want someone to feel the weight of their mistake, let your final message be unspoken. Stop reaching out. Walk away. Because the one who truly wins is not the one who argues the most, but the one who leaves without ever looking back. Now, let's move on to the next step. This one is even more powerful. The silent, unforgiving strategy that makes anyone regret hurting you. Have you ever noticed that some people seem unable to feel bad about what they've done? They hurt others, betray trust, and continue as if nothing happened. But they all have one weakness in common. They only feel the consequences of their actions when they lose something they thought they could always count on. And that's exactly the weak spot we're going to target. If someone treated you poorly, it means they felt safe doing so. They assumed you would always be there, that they could behave however they wanted without facing any real consequences. But there is one silent and devastating move that can shake even the coldest and most self-centered person, completely cutting off their access to your time, energy, and presence. Think about it. What is more painful, hearing someone go on and on about how much they're hurting, or watching that same person become stronger, happier, and completely out of reach without offering any explanation? The answer is clear. As long as you express your pain, the other person still feels like they matter. But when you focus on yourself, grow, and refuse to let them have any space in your world, the message becomes undeniable. You lost me for good. This strikes at one of the most basic human fears, the fear of losing value in someone else's life. Everyone wants to feel special. Everyone wants to be missed. But when you shut the door without warning, doubts start creeping into their mind. What are they doing now? Did they find someone better? Did they realize they don't need me anymore? And it's that uncertainty, that unanswered question, that eats away at them. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to not become like those who hurt you." This means that instead of reacting without thinking, you move with purpose. You don't fight back. You don't beg for answers. You simply disappear and rebuild. While they expect an argument, they get silence. While they expect a dramatic response, they see you moving forward, stronger and completely out of reach. How to put this into action? First, remove every way they can reach you. No social media, no messages, no conversations through mutual friends. Everything needs to be cut. If they want to find out what's going on with you, they'll have to put in real effort. And the harder it is, the more it will affect them. Second, shift your focus. Rather than spending your time thinking about what happened, use that energy to improve yourself, enhance your appearance, develop better habits, and grow financially. Because when that person eventually hears about you, and they will get curious, let it be through your transformation, not through your pain. And now, for the last and most important step, never look back. A common mistake people make is accepting someone back once they realize what they lost. But remember, feeling sorry is not the same as changing. If someone hurt you once, they are likely to do it again. Your goal is not to give another chance, but to become a person they will never have access to again. This is the most powerful and effective approach. No revenge, no arguments, just the firm decision that whoever hurt you will never again be close to what they once had, but let slip through their fingers. Now let's move on to the next step. This one will cut straight into their ego. Nothing causes more regret than this. The secret to making someone miss you and feel foolish. The biggest mistake made by those who betray, disrespect, or treat you as if you don't matter is thinking they'll never feel your absence. They assume you are just another person easy to replace, but what they fail to realize is that some people are irreplaceable. And that's exactly what they will come to understand, without you having to lift a finger. The deepest kind of regret doesn't come immediately. It comes later, when the mistake can no longer be undone. At first, they might not care, but eventually, something shifts inside them, and by then it's far too late. For this realization to truly sink in, you must follow 3 key steps. Step 1. Make yourself completely unreachable. No vague posts hinting at your pain. No messages hoping they'll read between the lines. No accidental encounters. A mistake many people make is wanting to be noticed right after walking away. But absence only leaves a mark when it is real and lasting. If this person still believes they can reach you in some way, they won't regret losing you. They'll just feel like they're still in control. Step 2. Change, so they can no longer recognize you. Few things unsettle someone more than realizing the person they once took for granted has become stronger, happier, and completely different. Imagine the shock of seeing you more confident, more attractive, more successful, and most painful of all, without a trace of bitterness. That alone can shatter someone's pride. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain. Your progress will be seen, not spoken. That's the secret." Rather than trying to prove anything, simply let time reveal the truth. Because the moment they see you thriving without them, the weight of regret will settle in. Step 3. Treat them like a stranger. Here's the toughest part. At some point, they will reach out. They might send a random message, ask a meaningless question, or come up with an excuse to reconnect. And that moment determines everything. If you respond as if they are no more important than a stranger on the street, the regret will cut deeper than any words ever could. Because the harsh truth is this: no one wants to be forgotten by someone they once believed they had power over. And that is the ultimate lesson. No yelling, no arguments, no demanding apologies. Just becoming so far out of reach that they have no choice but to realize on their own how foolish they were to lose you. Now let's go even deeper, because there's more pain in store for those who thought they could play with you. The worst punishment for those who mistreated you does not require revenge. Few things are as frustrating as realizing you have completely lost access to someone's life. The strongest move isn't to lash out, seek payback, or try to make them suffer. The real power is in making them feel invisible, as if they never mattered. Humans have a deep need to feel important. No one wants to be easily forgotten. When someone wrongs you, they expect a reaction, whether it's anger, sadness, or an attempt to understand what went wrong. But when you give them nothing, no emotions, no words, no acknowledgement, they enter a state of frustration where doubt and regret begin to eat away at them. This person expected you to reach out, argue, or try to get closure. Instead, they get silence. No reaction, no response, no indication that they ever mattered enough to disrupt your peace. And believe me, that hurts far more than any well-planned revenge. The mind hates uncertainty, and that's where their pride begins to crumble. The brain naturally seeks closure. When they realize you aren't reacting, not with love, not with anger, not with sadness, they begin to wonder, was I never as important as I thought? And this question alone can be more painful than any confrontation. This becomes even more powerful when they start to see that your life has only improved without them. No hints, no public statements, no forced attempts to show off. You simply move forward. And do you know what that means? That while they thought they had control, you had already left the game a long time ago. This kind of regret lingers for months, sometimes years, because there is nothing more painful than realizing too late that what was lost can never be regained. The final blow? Never let them back in, because the true consequence isn't just cutting them out, it's making sure they never get another chance. The real punishment is not disappearing from their life. The real punishment is moving forward in such a way that they constantly wonder how they ever let you go. Now get ready, because the next move will hit the ego of those who thought you were replaceable. Reverse psychology. How to make someone who underestimated you feel like a complete fool. Nothing wounds a person's pride more than realizing they misjudged someone. Some people believe they can treat others poorly without consequences, lie, manipulate, or toss them aside, without ever facing the results of their actions. But life has a way of teaching hard lessons. And when someone realizes too late that they made the wrong choice, the weight of shame and regret becomes unbearable. The key to making this happen isn't fighting, arguing, or proving your worth. The secret is much simpler, and that's exactly what we'll cover next. The common mistake when trying to prove your worth. One of the biggest errors people make when trying to show their value to those who doubted them is feeling the need to explain themselves. Doing this only reinforces the idea that you are still looking for approval. True humiliation for those who underestimated you happens not through words, but through undeniable proof. Your actions show them they were completely wrong about you. What truly affects the pride of someone who misjudged you isn't hearing an explanation. It's realizing that while they saw you as weak or unimportant, you were growing, improving, and becoming someone far greater than they ever imagined. The psychological effect of this is crushing. Regret comes with a bitter aftertaste when they finally understand that if they had treated you differently, they could have been part of your journey, witnessing your success firsthand. But life doesn't rewind, and this awareness becomes a burden they must carry alone. The smartest way to make someone feel foolish for underestimating you is to simply succeed without saying a word. While they expected to see you struggling, dwelling on the past, or feeling broken, the reality is the exact opposite. They see you at your best, distant, unaffected, and with no need to prove anything to anyone. In this case, regret doesn't come because of something you did to them. It comes from something you did for yourself. And here's the most painful part for them. The less access they have to your growth, the stronger the impact. Don't fall into the trap of trying to show off your success to those who once doubted you. What truly shatters someone's pride is realizing, all on their own, that they made a terrible mistake by not recognizing your true worth. And by the time they understand this, it's far too late to fix it. Now get ready, because the next lesson exposes the greatest mistake they made, the fatal error they made, and how it comes back to crush their ego. Anyone who ever hurt you made one major miscalculation, a mistake they weren't even aware of at the time, but one that will eventually catch up to them with full force. There's a flaw in human nature. People often fail to appreciate something until it's gone. As long as you were available, as long as they believed they could treat you carelessly and still have your attention, they didn't recognize your value. But now, everything is different. Their mistake was assuming you would always be there, that they could act however they pleased without facing consequences. Now they are beginning to realize that life moved forward without them, and worse, that your life has only gotten better. Nothing damages a person's pride more than realizing they underestimated someone who turned out to be much more important than they initially thought. And the most powerful thing you can do is allow them to come to that realization alone. Few things are more painful than recognizing too late that you've made a terrible choice, that you threw away something valuable because of arrogance or carelessness. And the most effective way to make them feel this in the deepest way possible: become living proof of their mistake. While they assumed you would be stuck, suffering, or plotting revenge, they now see a version of you that has flourished. Someone confident, untouchable, and unwilling to accept anything less than they deserve. This is a direct hit to their ego, because people hate admitting they were wrong. They hate realizing they took something for granted and lost it forever. Life has a way of teaching lessons, and sooner or later they will reach the painful moment where they fully understand what they let slip away. The real problem for them is that when they finally open their eyes to the truth, when they finally grasp the weight of their mistake, you will already be far beyond their reach. And that will be the greatest consequence they could ever face. Now get ready, because the next move ensures they will never even dream of returning. The coldest truth: why they must believe you never cared. If there's one thing that can torment someone, it's doubt. And the biggest uncertainty you can plant in the mind of someone who hurt you is this: did they ever truly care about me? As long as they believe you still feel something, whether it's love, anger, or resentment, they will feel a sense of control. But the moment they start to wonder if they were never that important to you, the entire game shifts. People hate feeling insignificant. The most painful blow to someone's ego isn't being hated, it's being forgotten. When you move on with ease, with no drama, no bitterness, and no need for closure, you create a seed of doubt in their mind. They begin to question if they ever really mattered, and this thought alone becomes a silent, relentless weight on their conscience. Many people make the mistake of trying to prove they were hurt, trying to show how much they suffered, or making it clear how much pain they endured. But this only feeds the ego of the one who caused the harm. Even if they don't express it, knowing they had an impact on you gives them a sense of power. Instead, the most effective way to make someone feel the weight of their actions is to leave them questioning if they ever had any effect on you at all. When someone becomes just a distant memory, when you treat the past as if it was just a small detail in your story, as if nothing that happened truly left a lasting mark, the message that remains is clear: you were never as important as you believed. And here's the painful truth: this uncertainty can make them want one last conversation, one final attempt to understand if they still hold any place in your life. But if you truly want to make the message strong, never give them that moment. Never let them know exactly what you felt. Never reveal if you cried, if you struggled, or if you ever missed them. Because the truth is, when they start to wonder if they were just a brief chapter in your journey, regret arrives in a way they never expected. Now prepare yourself, because the next step will erase any hope they have of ever recovering what they lost. Marcus Aurelius's method to defeat those who tried to bring you down without saying a word. Marcus Aurelius, one of Rome's greatest emperors and a master of Stoic wisdom, had a simple but powerful way of handling those who tried to harm him. The best response to an attack is complete indifference. He understood something that many fail to see. Those who insult you, try to put you down, or treat you badly only hold power over you if they can make you react. So if you want to defeat someone who tried to make you feel small, the answer isn't arguing, proving yourself, or seeking revenge. The real answer is becoming someone so accomplished, so untouchable, that they realize they never even stood a chance against you. This method is powerful because it strikes at the most fragile part of a person, their pride. When someone tries to harm you, their real goal is to see you upset, to know that their words or actions affected you. But when you show no reaction, when you keep moving forward and become even greater than before, They don't just fail. They have to watch you become something they can never reach. Now, how do you put this idea into action? First, remember that no insult or attempt to hurt you works unless you let it. If this person was expecting you to argue or feel hurt, but is instead met with complete silence, frustration will start to eat away at them. Second, take all the energy you could waste on reacting and invest it in something meaningful, your own progress. With every quiet success, with every step forward, they feel their influence over you slipping away. And the final step? Never look back. Never give them the chance to believe they ever had enough importance to change your path. Because the greatest humiliation isn't being fought against, it's being completely ignored, as if their words and actions never mattered at all. Now prepare yourself, because the next step proves that life has its own way of teaching lessons to those who deserve them. Let life handle it, the power of doing nothing and watching everything fall apart. There's an old saying, never interrupt your enemy when they are making a mistake. And the truth is, most of the time, the biggest consequences for those who mistreat others don't come from you. They come from life itself. People who are dishonest, manipulative, or full of pride always think they are in control. They believe they can keep hurting others without facing any consequences. But what they don't realize is that this behavior sets off a chain reaction that, sooner or later, comes back to them like a storm. The biggest mistake you can make is trying to speed up this process. Many people become obsessed with seeing justice happen quickly. They want to prove they were right, to make sure the one who hurt them pays for their actions. But in doing this, they lose precious time that could be spent improving their own lives instead. The best thing you can do, let life do the work for you. People who lie, betray, or act selfishly always leave a trail behind them. Right now, it might seem like they're doing fine, but consequences always catch up. Friendships fall apart, relationships break down, and opportunities slip away. And the most interesting part? When this happens, the first thought that comes to their mind is, I had someone loyal by my side, someone who truly cared, and I threw it all away. Marcus Aurelius once said, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. This means that instead of wasting your time trying to make someone pay for what they did, the best thing you can do is focus on your own path. One day, those who hurt you will look back and see how much they lost. And by the time they realize it, you'll already be so far ahead, so unreachable, that all that remains for them is regret and loneliness. The time will come when the person who hurt you realizes they made a mistake. It might take weeks, months, or even years, but sooner or later the truth catches up. And when that moment arrives, they usually try to come back. It might be through a casual message, a friendly gesture, or even a long overdue apology. But here's the key. This is the exact moment to take your final step. A mistake that many people make at this stage is falling into the trap of memories. When this person returns, whether with genuine regret or just to see if they can still reach you, it's easy to feel tempted to answer, to get closure, or to prove how much you've changed. But that is the biggest mistake you could make. Because the real final step isn't about revenge, nor is it about proving you're better than before. The real way to win is through complete indifference. What truly unsettles someone who once doubted you isn't anger or resentment, it's being met with nothing at all. It's realizing that they no longer have a place in your life, that you've moved so far beyond that moment that there's no reason to reopen that door. This person needs to understand that the door is closed for good, that no matter what they say or do, your life has moved forward, and they are no longer part of it. Nothing stings more than realizing you can never again reach someone you once thought would always be there. When they walked away or treated you poorly, they assumed they could come back whenever they wanted. But now, everything is different. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer in the same place. You have grown beyond their reach. And that realization is something they will have to carry forever. The real final step isn't about making them feel bad. It's about making it clear that they were the ones who lost. Not with words, not with revenge, but with your growth. Because the best response to someone who once hurt you is not proving anything at all. The best response is becoming someone they will never have access to again. So tell me, who really won in the end? The greatest victory is becoming unreachable. By now you understand that the most painful consequence for those who hurt you isn't an argument, revenge, or trying to prove your worth. True victory happens when you rise so high that those who once disrespected you realize, too late, that they lost something valuable. What truly shatters a person's pride isn't hatred. It isn't fighting back. It isn't even a well-planned response. What really eats away at them is knowing that in the end you didn't care enough to look back. It's realizing that while they saw you as replaceable, you were growing, improving, and becoming someone who would never need them again. And now the real question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you stay stuck in the past, reliving old wounds, trying to figure out why they treated you that way? Or will you use that energy to build yourself into someone so strong that one day they'll deeply regret losing you? If you've made it this far, you already know the answer. So do what needs to be done. Move forward, grow, become a mystery to those who thought they could treat you poorly without consequences. Because in the end, the best revenge isn't making someone pay, it's showing that you never needed them to win. Now, it's your turn. Before we wrap up, I want to know, which of these lessons stood out to you the most? Have you already used any of these in your own life? Or do you plan to? Tell me in the comments or write this sentence: I know my worth. That way, I'll know you stayed until the end and took something valuable from this message. And of course, if this video spoke to you, leave a like and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. See you in the next video.